Who's ready for nukes and ground forces? Well, Right, I'm going to take a sip of my tea, and then I'm going to tell you about the changes on the second dev server. Right, let's get into it. Very nice. Okay. As per usual, everything is subject to change, and I will be covering most of the changes. If you haven't seen my first video on the dev server and what's coming, please do go check that out, as we'll only be looking primarily at the new stuff and the changes that they have made since that release. There are important other things to take a look at, and we'll take a look at absolutely everything. Now, because I'm a pilot first and foremost, that's what we're going to take a look at, so aviation it is. In changes to aviation, the most important thing, well, not really the most important thing, but something pretty interesting if you like your heads-up display, all the Harriers, the Buccaneer, and all the F4 versions have now got heads-up display. The F6, F5, and the F4U7 have separate bomb drops for the caliber 1,000 pounds, and the bombs of different masses have different explosion sounds. America gets the F8U2, rank 6 battle rating 10.0. It's armed with 4 20mm cannons, it's got a crew of 1, max speed of 1,123, and it is definitely a long aircraft if you're into that kind of thing. Armor-wise, there's 1 bulletproof glass on the front, 25mm. Let's have a look at the X-ray real quick. This thing does come with radar. Anyway, nice addition to the US, nonetheless. Moving on to the Russia. The Su-17M2 can get gun pods equipped, finally, so that now you can actually equip the gun pods to the swing wing. And there is 2 new identical aircraft, the Su-9 and the Su-11. They're both rank 5, 7.0. They have both the same armament, 37mm cannon times 1 with 2 23mm cannons with 200 rounds. It is quite interesting to see because these are 2 different engine types mounted on a similar aircraft here. So, it's a nice addition to Russia aviation as per usual. Now, the Su-9, which is the entry variant, sits just above the LA-15 and is an entry-level jet. So it should be fun to fly this thing, I reckon. We'll check that out in a video soon. For 8,000 golden eagles for a waste of money, you can throw yourself at the Attacker FB2. This is a premium rank 5 battle rating 7.0 armed with 4 20mm cannons. It is exactly identical to the FB Mark 1, as you can see just here. But the Mark II is slightly faster. But at this current stage, there's no viable reason for you to be playing this thing, let alone purchasing it. This is the A6M5 Hey, and for fans of Japanese aviation, you're going to like this one. It gets equipped with 13mm machine guns and 20mm cannons as per usual, but it also gets the Type 3 rockets, and these do look quite interesting, I must say. So, with a top speed of 540 kilometers an hour, and with a repair cost already of 23,000, that should make your Japanese bank really cry to its heart content. In terms of modifications, stock standard does come with bombs as well, and you've also got the Type 3 Mark 1 rockets here, and I'll show those briefly on screen. What an absolutely chunky little rocket those things are. The Mirage 3E is coming to France, which is fantastic because we already have a Mirage 3C. Unfortunately, this isn't a Mirage 3.0 version. Hint, hint, I would like an Australian Mirage some point in War Thunder's history. Not that it's needed, I'm perfectly happy with this one. Rank 6 battle rating 10.7. Exactly identical with identical armament and presets to that of its predecessor, the C version. This vehicle does come equipped with that of secondary option, which is countermeasures. So you do get your regular missiles, but you do also get your flares, but there's also something called chaffs, which are countermeasures, so that's pretty interesting. I'll showcase that in a bit. In changes to cosmetics and that of aerobatic smoke, there is now new smoke types, which can be available in the item store. Red sparks, green sparks, blue sparks, lawnmower, and insecticide. I'll show you briefly what they look like here. There are now nuclear weapons which have been added to realistic tank battles, so you need to have 3,000 spawn points and a air raid siren will basically sound at every cap. Now the aircraft that can get this are the Tu-4, the B-29, the IL-28, the Canberra Mark 6, the Su-7 BKL and the Jaguar A. So who's ready for nuclear weapons in Tank Realistic. Speaking of tanks, this is the Leopard 2 PL. It's basically an up-armoured version of the Leopard 2, but for Poland. It's got a nice digital camo, as you can see here. Gen 3 thermals for the gunner and for the commander. It's got night vision and a whole host of other different things. But it does cost around 7,000 golden eagles, and it is the squadron reward vehicle, but at battle rating 10.7. So, I hope you enjoy your free premium vehicle for those of us who are not in squadrons. And other changes, and we'll get into this really quickly here. France and Germany now have 2 separate vehicles of the same type. Now, this is the SK-105A2. It's been designated as an Argentinian vehicle, and the reason for this is, well, there was so much backlash that they decided to add an equivalent vehicle in France. And for those looking for where the Jägerpanzer KA2 sits, well, it sits directly below the AMX-30 ACRA. There you go. France does get a unique vehicle, however. This is the Mars 15, a rank 6, battle rating 8.3. It is equipped with a 90mm cannon and a 7.62, does a top speed of 75 km an hour, and is classed as a light tank. No armour what to speak of, but it is quite interesting nonetheless. Engine at the front, driver at the front, ammunition in the rear. Quite an interesting looking vehicle, I must say. In new vehicles, South Africa does get its 2 little armoured cars to start off the tech tree. We've got the SAR C with the 2-pounder, and then the SAR C with the 6-pounder. So they both look like they're about to go on an elephant hunt. The first one is rank 2, battle rating 2.7, with a 40mm cannon, and the second one is the SAR C, which looks like it's about to take down an elephant. As you can see here, rank 3.3. Funky looking cars indeed. In other changes, there's been an update to sound mods. As they say here, a mechanism for lifting the use of custom sound mods has been implemented for tournament battles. So what that means is, when players are playing in tournament battles, they cannot have a sound mod. And it will say, with a written message, sound mods are prohibited in selected game modes. I guess that's a positive. They've basically lifted their ban on all sound mods. And that's about it, really, unless you want to hear about naval characteristics and physics damage models. I'm sure Flip Stug or some other YouTuber can cover that. There's been some stuff changed, and I hope you can go and look at the forums yourself and look at the patch notes down in the description down below. Speaking of which, I'll be live streaming on Twitch as soon as this video goes live, in which I'll be showcasing and taking a look at most of the changes and on the dev server itself, so see you there. Alright, you've been updated. Like, comment, subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next one, hey? Bye-bye. Ah!